back into this because we need to close that. There we go. Okay, so you said your instructions are to defensively cut the center back when they have the ball, got it, and then cover the 6 if you're not high pressing.
Right.
Okay, what about offensively? What instructions does it give you?
He says to stay like try to keep occupied the 2 center backs by give us length. So whenever trying to push the back line back. So in order to give us space, you
So
know,
stretch the back line, okay?
the back line, yeah. And you do that by making runs and stuff like that, or just by staying high. And he also says that I will have to be in the same side as the ball. So if the ball is if the left back has the ball or the left center back has the ball, I have to be on the left side. If the right center back or the right back has the ball, then I have to be on the right side. So always being both sided.
Gotcha. It's interesting.
And whenever there is a run, I always try to. The first look is making the run to the first post. What else? Yeah, I think that's most of it that I can right now.
Oof, your goalie's touched. Jesus Christ. Okay, so now you're back 3. Interesting. Cool. I like the change. Oops. So does he want you to stay as high as possible too? Does he say you're allowed to drop in, or does he always want you as high as possible?
He wants me to first stretch the back line, and then if there is space in front, then I can just go and check in for the ball. But his first movement, he said that is how it's stretch the back line in order to create the space in front of me.
Gotcha.
And then if the back line is giving space in behind, then check in to then find the space in behind.
Okay, I'm trying to see where you are. Is that you pressuring? Is that somebody else? Oh wait, no, that's you there. I think the one with the lower shin guards, right? Yeah, that's you. Right. See, right now, your fucking wingback should be flying the fuck outside. It's too far inside. You're killing me. Let's see. All right, go back 5 to 10 seconds at this point where the center back had the ball and he's dribbling. Okay, pause it and keep going a little more. You have to be able to see yourself. I would say another second. Right there. Okay, so you are up there. I can see you to the right? So if you can move your mouse over to where you are.
Yeah.
If that's just you. Okay, so I can't tell exactly where he's looking, but it looks like he's looking in this area to either the center mid that's being marked by 2 guys, which you can see they're in a 4-2-3-1 setup right now. And I wish I could show you on my mouse, but so go to the guy underneath you, the center mid. You're 8. Okay. So you have their other defensive midfielder right behind him, right? So there's a gap between the number 10 on their team and the number 8 or 6, whatever number you want to call the defensive pivot, right? So you see how there's like that space right in behind?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where the ref is, that's too far. But there's like a space between you and the ref. You could literally slide into that space. So you would step to where you're literally facing. It would be to your right. So I would say you'd take like 4 or 5 steps to your right. You could get that little pocket right there. And then he might be able to zing that ball right in. He might. I don't know.
So you're talking
he might
about here?
Yeah. So like a little bit higher. So like, okay, so you know where the defensive player is behind your midfielder. Right? So put your mouse over the defensive player is.
Here?
Okay. So then you need to move your mouse like 3 steps to the left. So like 1, 2, 3, like there. That's a little high, but that general spot is where you could slide into, right? Maybe a little bit more to the right, maybe a little to the left. Right, but if you look at him, you can see he's looking for a pass into somebody.
Right.
So if you're aware of this situation, you can see there's that little pocket. Right now, the center back might not have passing ability of Busquets at this level. Right, because you're talking about hitting a Busquets pass like this, or a PK or something like that. Right, but the premise is that if you find that pocket, if he does this multiple times and makes this movement, he can play that ball into you, and that would be an absolute killer pass. Because you just split 1, 2, 3, 4 players out of the picture completely. You've taken the left mid, the 11, the 10, and the 6 and 8 out of the picture with 1 pass.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now, he might not get it to you, for sure. It might not happen. But at least you slide in that pocket. Now, play it a little bit. So at least you slide into that pocket. Now it got closed, right? You can see it's closed now. So now the space might be, you see where the ref is now?
Mm-hmm.
So they did a good job of closing that pocket. So maybe if you moved in that position, you slide towards the referee and you can see all that little fucking space right there.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
And you get into that space by taking those couple of steps, right? Where he might try and play it, it might not work, so he doesn't play it, and then they slide over like the defense did, and then he hits you that ball right where that ref is, and you're freaking driving straight at the defense. Because their back line, if you look at their back line, they're right by their box. So they're vacating all this space right by that referee, or a second ago, between that 2 pockets of space. So a lot of this is going to be determined on how the way that you guys set up. So it looks like you set up in 4-3-3, and then how the opposing team sets up. So when they're defending, they're in a 4-2-3-1. At least in this scenario. Go play it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, you're literally going to have to read how it's set up in the game. Mm-mm. So the thing I would recommend there is you can't let that guy turn. You got to cut him from turning. So that way, if he tries to turn, you're right there to take it. So you need to literally try and go behind him a little bit more. Let's see.
Try to recover it. I thought he was going to pass it back to right back, so I went to him.
I'll tell you why I'd rather you do that. Your coach might tell you differently, but if, as you can see, he was able to turn and he really get the ball out, swing it the other way, and start attacking. If you play it to the right back, or if he plays it back to the right back, he's not going to have many options but either play it long over top probably, or play it back to the center backs, which means it's going to take them longer to swing it across. Now, your coach might give you different instructions and say, you know what, it's okay if you let the 6 get it and swing it. But I would, if I'm playing this system like this and he's giving you those instructions, I would not want that to happen. I would be like, cut that 6 and don't let him play it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Was that you making the run or was that somebody else?
No, somebody else. I'm taking it.
All right, let's see. So we got the corner kick. You guys do a stack thing, which is probably pretty smart. All right. Let's see. That's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was lying a little bit so I could see. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. God damn. All right, so let's see. So we talked about this last time about making sure you face. I would jog back, And make sure you're facing the ball and just being ready position, because again, a scout watching that's going to want to see that you're you're working to get your spot ready to defend. Whatever the instruction is from your coach. If you went to low block, mid block, or high press, totally up to him. At least get into that position to be ready from the goal kick. Let's see, you're over there now, all right? So it's kind of hard to see those pockets because of where the ball is and how the camera's positioned, but we'll do our best. Yeah, and this is the game we were watching last time where definitely I think starting about here, you're going to start getting isolated a lot. You go in that pocket, but he doesn't give it to you, which is okay. So just wait. Good. You guys going to be swinging that ball. Jesus. That actually worked. All right, can you go back 5 seconds to when that guy in the midfield gets the ball? Because my camera lagged out, so I didn't get to really see it. So, yeah, play it for me. That'll be good. As long as it doesn't lag out, I'll be good. It's a hell of a pass. I don't think he meant to do that, though. Okay, so, yeah, right there. So you start making a run, but then I think you stop. And I don't know if you stop because of the foul or you stop because you don't think you're going to get the ball. Do you remember?
Oh, hold on. Let me see it play again.
So this kid plays that ball into your number 10. You start running, and then you stop right there.
Yeah, so I thought he was gonna get his first touch forward and he was gonna start like driving towards the goal.
Mm-hmm.
He got his first touch and he's like trying to cover the ball he had a guy in behind him.
So I'll tell you this. So I see why you stopped. I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. Now, he got a foul, right? So it's okay. So you stop anyways. But can you go back 5 seconds? So check this out. When the ball goes into this guy, watch your run and watch the defenders. So you start running, watch. So you're going to see now. You start running, watch what the defense does. They start dropping deeper. Now, he cuts. But if you keep running, either you're obviously going to run offside, but two, what might happen is the defense is going to continue to drop. Because if they don't drop, then it's going to allow this guy to either slip you in or go himself or whatever. They have to drop.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, it's not just your mistake, it's his mistake because he should have kept dribbling. Instead, he tries to cut, which is, I don't understand why, but he does, so he gets a foul. But you see what I'm saying with that run?
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's okay that you stop because you got a foul from it, but let's pretend that he doesn't cut. And just keep going, run an extra 2-3 steps, because even if the line drops a couple steps deeper, and maybe he's trying to play the ball out to that left winger, or maybe that's your left back. I can't tell which one it is. But if you get it out there and you cut your run, I think you're already in a bad position. So if he's able to ping the ball to the left mid, he's got acres of space, but then it becomes 4v4. Whereas you need to be trying to get positioned already to get ready for the cross for the box. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'll just play from there. Go ahead. As you can see, he's got a whole bunch of space. And a defensive line never, ever really wants to be 4v4. Oops. How the hell did he fuck up that bad? Back to post. Goal kick. Okay, so pause it real quick, or go back to where the guy's about to throw it. Check this out. Pause it right. Okay, go back a couple more seconds if possible. So right before he throws it. So right, it's going to go out of bounds. It's going to grab it. Stop it. Okay, so right there, I don't know if you noticed, you took a quick scan, right, for like a half a second, but then you just start backpedaling. I don't even think you realized that there was a dude right behind you. Because I think you look to the left rather than just behind you. So anytime, especially when the ball goes out of bounds, you need to try and look and gather as much information as you can. So you took a quick check, which is cool, but the more you can look and take in that information, so look left, look right, look behind you real quick, because then you can really figure out where's the best place for you to move or where a teammate is. All right, so play it and you'll see it. You did that check, you just missed it, but then play it. and you'll see you just backpedal, and I don't know if you know where that guy is.
Yeah.
Or so if you had that information, then you might be able to make, you'll make over time at least more informed and better decisions. So when that center back has the ball, he wants you to try and cut that pass?
Yeah.
Oof, that's a lot of running.
I didn't do it there.
Even I would say in a scenario like that, I would just let him have it. I would try and cut the center, the defensive midfielder. And then if they, do something crazy, then you go in pressure and then get your team to go with you. That was a good touch. Your first run wasn't too good, but then the second one was much better, so that was good. Because you peeled off. Especially if you're going to play as a 9, you're going to have to learn really how to work on hold-up play.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like trying to pin a center back. Because can you go back to that one clip we just had where you get the shot off? So check this out, because this is my opinion. I have to watch it again to make sure I understand. So right here, okay. So you go back, pause it, go back to where you start that a little run and then you cut. Yeah, so let it play from here. The ball comes to this guy here, he gets it, and then stop it right there. So you kind of cut short, and if you look at this, it's essentially a 2 versus 2. So while I don't necessarily mind that you do that, it might be more beneficial in that scenario to either take your mouse to where the center back is. So there's really 3 options, I think, in this scenario, maybe 4. Okay, so you have the center back. A second ago, you were standing next to him, and then you made a little cut off him and run. Mm-hmm. So you were first running to the – is this your fullback or is this the winger?
Oh, this is a fullback.
Okay, so he's not that good 1v1. You're better 1v1. Okay, so and this is where you're going to have to learn and gauge who your teammates are and where they're positioned. So what I mean by that is I don't know your right mid, but I'm assuming he's much better attacking 1v1 than your right back. That's probably why he's the defender and he's the attacker, right?
Yeah. So
you have kind of 2 options. He's going to look to make a passing image, which he does to the other center midfielder. But I would say let's pretend forget where you are now. Let's pretend you're standing on the center back.
Mm-hmm.
So you have kind of 3 options, I would say. One is to pin him. You know how Lukaku or Zlatan will hold the guy off?
Yeah.
Body to the outside, you know what I'm talking about, and then hold the ball?
Yeah.
So this is Aguero does it really well too. So I would maybe take some time and go watch Aguero pinning somebody or Zlatan pinning a guy, and you see how he does it. And because in a scenario like this, especially when it's 2v2, that could be effective because then he could play into you. The guy could keep running, and then you could either lay off a 1-2 or then spin him.
Right.
The second scenario is because he's the right back, you started making a run. Let's pretend you were on the center back again. You started running in that half space between the center back and the fullback. So you put your marker between the 2 defenders. So you started, but you did like a fake check. You ran there and then cut.
And then here.
Yeah. So go back, play it 5 seconds. Oh, no, go back first.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, play it for me, that's fine. So he's going to swing it out to you right back. Okay, go back, because I want to show you right before. So right there, pause it. Okay, so right here, you can see this, right? Mm-hmm. You see their right back is stepping up. Right there, pause it. Yeah, so you start making that run. Don't touch it, leave it right here. So check this out. So in this scenario right here, what I would do is either one of the 2 things. Try and pin that center back, right? Hold him up and let the guy play into you. And then obviously he needs to run, or you can try and spin him. Or 2 would be really effective because of where the ball is. You run into that half space, which is put your mouse between the center back and the fullback. Right, that space right there where you're running. Because look at his position. Look where the fullback is. The fullback's body position is terrible. He can't see anything. He can't see you, and he can't see the ball. So he's already facing backwards, which means he's going to be at a loss. And the same thing with the center back. So you could make that run from where the cursor is of your mouse, and run towards the 18-yard box to the corner of it.
There it is?
You see what I'm saying? Like that. So now, obviously, the player has to pass the ball before you get there, before you're offside. But right. He could hit that pass down the line and maybe either bend it in towards your path or hit it in a straight pass towards that marker where your cursor is, and then you're going to beat the fullback there because it's that space. You see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you start making that run and the kid doesn't pass it. Then that's when you would cut because he has time. You can see, like, the 5 has time. Right? He doesn't have direct pressure. He's got probably a good 7 to 10 yards in front of him of space. So if you go there and he doesn't pass it to you, which I would think would be foolish anyways, you would cut your run and then try and either pin the guy or move negative again. But I think you cut your run too early because there's a lot of space available to you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, play it, because you'll see it here in a second. That's a high line. Yep, it's a high line and you cut early. Now, he might not be adept enough at hitting that pass, and it worked out in the end for you, for you to create that space separately, because you still got into that half space between the center back and the fullback, and that's probably the most dangerous spot to go because center backs are normally better communicating to each other than they are to the fullback. So it's you can get that space and attack it well if you can find it, which you did in that second part, which is good. But I still think you could explore that half space in that first run. The other thing I was going to ask you, how often or how well do you communicate with your teammates?
So I don't talk much on the field, but I need to start doing that more.
I was going to say you should be opening your mouth all the time.
Yeah. Most of the time I don't do it because I get tired quickly when I talk.
Yes, I remember.
Energy.
So I would tell you this. I don't know if you necessarily need to talk a lot, but there's a couple codes or key phrases that you should give. The first one would be a press, right? If you want to go apply pressure and, like, let's say you're going to go cut the center backs, right? You're essentially getting your team ready to do what?
Wait, say that one more time.
So if you're going to go cut the center back so we can't pass it across, you're indicating to your team that you want to do what?
They want to go to the right side, so they have to, like, press the other players.
Right, press. You want them to press. So your coach is giving you that instruction to go cut that passing lane so your team can start getting ready to go pressure. Yeah. So what I would advise you, and again, it depends on your coach, what I would advise you to consider doing is when you're going to go cut that pass, so let's say, pause it right there just so that'll work, yeah. So let's say how the guy just had it, the thrower, the center back, and he's throwing it to the fullback. Let's say you're in that space between them, and obviously it's a much lower line, right? I mean, your team's way behind. Let's picture this 15 yards higher. So you're already closer to the two center backs. He throws it over your head to go to the other center back, and you're going to position yourself to cut the pass to the center back again, to the other one, the one that threw it in.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you're doing it because you're trying to get your team to understand and make predictable the play of the opponent. Yeah. So you can indicate to your team by doing that by yelling press, right? So once you get yourself into position, right, and you're now cutting that pass, or maybe you're about to cut that pass, you can yell press, press. But you need to make sure that there's no reason for you to do that, in my opinion, unless your team's going to effectively press. Otherwise, you're just wasting your energy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because there's no other purpose, in my opinion, for you to go into that position and cut those passes if your team isn't going to be with you.
Right.
And the reason why you're going to do that is to make the play predictable, so you can set those pressing traps.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know the instruction of your coach, and I understand why he wants you to cut it, but the whole point of cutting it.
Everybody has to. So yeah, once whenever we do that, obviously the number 10 is covering the 6, and the left wing is covering is covering the pass from the center back to the number 8, but once the center back finds the right back, his job is to go right away and press it right back again. So yeah, like my thing is not like it's just me doing that. It's like everybody after me has to be on their position to press the other players.
Okay, good. Yeah, so run that. We'll play from there.
Because yeah, if I just do that, then and the other guys are not pressing, then there is no
Yeah.
purpose for me
I mean,
doing
you
that.
can see right here, like, it doesn't look like you have many teammates close to you except one player. I mean, it was a little far out, but you're going to pressure or set up that pressing trap, and there's nobody around you. I mean, it's going to be hard. So like right here, I wouldn't even worry about. Like you can see right here, I wouldn't worry about too much about applying pressure to the center backs unless you're going to hit a long like that because they're not going to be super effective in those areas. That's where the sitting on the 6 would be better, especially if he's a good player. And I don't know if this guy's a good player or not. I can't tell by watching, but. And I got about 5 minutes because I haven't practiced. I got to run at 4 o'clock. Oh. And you can see, can you go back 5 to 10 seconds probably at this point now, right when they hit the crossbar? So yeah, right here, leave it, and then pause. So look, check this out, right? And this is what I was talking before about isolation. You can see you have literally your entire team, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're the 10th player. And look how much space is between you and the rest of your team. Your entire team is literally in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not blaming you in this scenario. This is what I want you to start recognizing. Because I mentioned to you last time, you need to try and not watch the ball as much and start scanning for things around you.
Right.
Because the ball hits the crossbar, it bounces out, and it's you versus like 3 guys. So play it. I want you to see this. So it'll bounce out. You guys clear it, and then look, they have 2 players, you have 1, and they can just keep it. So like, there's not a lot of pressing you can do. Like even here, pause it. Yeah, go back 5 seconds to when the center back has it. So there. Okay, so you can see, right? I mean, the closest guy to you, it looks like it's about 15 yards into your left mid.
Yeah.
So you can see that you're pressing essentially 1v4.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, this is a waste of your energy because there's nobody near you. Do you see this?
Yeah.
So, and it's not, you're learning, so there's not really an issue, but this is where the understanding of what's around you, that scanning element is really going to help you because you don't know what's around you, so play it. Now, this guy had a horrendous touch, so you almost stole it, right? But you can see there's nobody close to except one guy, so it's 4v2. You don't have a lot of support. So it looks like there's a disjointment between your team and collective pressing, especially from the front. It looks like you guys do a decent job at defending a low block. Because look, I mean, right there, you're getting pressured by 3 players. You don't have a lot of options, and you guys turn the ball over. So it looks like you guys have much better understanding of the low block, mid block. So you probably have done a lot of work with that, but haven't done so much work in a higher press, against their back line, which essentially that was.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. And those are just things to be mindful of. Okay, so you guys win it. He hits this ball here. Pause it. Remember we talked about this last time. So can you go back 5 seconds? This guy, so you play it when this, okay, hold on. Pause it. Okay, so we know this guy's going to play it. Okay, so this, put your cursor on the next defender to your right. Down 1.
Huh?
Down 1. This guy, yeah, him. Okay, this is the fullback.
Yeah.
Okay, so play it real quick. Play it for half a second. I just want to see what happens. I can't remember. Play it, keep playing. I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, pause it. Okay, so go back to when he just receives it. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Just leave it there. Okay, so his position's not in a good position for sure. This is a bad body position to receive. Okay, so this is a mistake on his part. But what I want you to recognize is this. You have your cursor on the fullback, right? Mm-hmm. The space is going to be behind where he vacated.
Yeah.
So he vacated the fullback position, which means the space to attack would be the line. So go down towards like the bottom of the grid or the screen, bottom right. Yeah, keep going like this, right down in this area. Obviously further down the field, but this would be the spaces to exploit in my opinion. because this is the fullback stepping out of his zone. Right? He's now going to pressure probably where a center midfielder or the left mid should. Do you see this?
Yeah, I see it. And I think
So,
I initially made the like I tried to make the run, but it wasn't like a hard run.
mhm.
So if I play a spray, like, and whenever I come in the picture, it's me like shifting. You see me there? I'm kind of
But
shifting.
so I'm going to tell you it's too late.
Yeah.
So you need to. So what you need to do is go back a couple seconds. Okay, so the ball's going to go to this guy. Okay, so pause it. Right. So go back to when the defensive mid or whoever that guy is that gets it before this dude. Go back like 3 seconds. Okay, so it's going to go to the center defensive mid or whatever position this guy is. Right here. Pause it. Okay, so he doesn't know what's around him, so he plays it quickly. He didn't need to. And this is where your next teammate right here is in a really bad position because he can't see what's behind him. He's in a terrible body. He needs to have that open half turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you should take from this is recognize, again, look, put your cursor on the fullback. I can't see the center backs, but I'm guessing they're not connected with this fullback.
No.
Okay, so I'm actually going to have to send you this. There's a report that I want you to read. It's like 45 pages. It's phenomenal. And it was a study. It's a guy that was taking the UEFA Pro license. And this is the highest license you can get in the world. But so this report says that, and it was a study done in not the Champions League, the World Cup final in 2014 in Brazil. 46% of goals came from a ball that was won right in this area where the guy picked the ball up. They called it Zone 4. It's the zone closest to your goal. And what happens is, or what the study said was that goals were scored because the opposing team that turned the ball over, so red in this scenario, turned the ball over and they're not properly positioned to deal with a counter. It's called a breakthrough balance, according to this guy's report. So this team, as you can see here, is not in probably a smart enough defensive position, and you could exploit this because of, for example, where the fullback's positioning is. So if your defensive midfielder is actually any good, and I don't know if he is, you can tell me, but in this scenario, he gets the ball and he's not aware of anything, so that's why he passes it off immediately to the first guy he sees. But he has a bit of time. So a real good number 6 is going to get that ball. He's going to be aware ahead of time, and he's going to look for you to make that run down that channel.
Yeah, there is a guy in my team that is just like that. It's just not this one. This guy,
right.
like the simple guy.
Mm-hmm.
But we have one guy in the team that he's the one that gets the ball, and he's already like looking to find that ball in behind.
Right.
If it was him, it would have been perfect to do what you're talking about.
Yeah, and even when this guy gets it, whatever number this is, the right wing, it looks like, he's going to get it, and you could still be you should already be moving to that channel because a center back is not going to want to go to that channel. The center backs don't want to defend outside. I've never met a center back that wants to go defend in the outside area. They don't want to do it. So what would probably happen is he's either going to leave you alone and let you float outside. There's really 3 options. He's going to either leave you alone and float outside. He's going to call the fullback to drop, which means he's going to open up more space for your team. Or he's going to go outside, and then there's a big 1v1 gap for you to exploit.
Yeah.
So so when you go back 3 seconds when the ball's even dispossessed, no, go back. Yeah, back. So the long ball comes in, your team wins it. Right, this is where the visual stuff comes into play, right? So you can see your team might win it, bang, wins it, right there. So as the ball's being transferred from a possible you get your team gain possession to an actual turnover, that's when you need to start really evaluating information and scanning, because then you will know where to exploit. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So play it, and I'll do one more real quick if we can find something, and I got to bounce because I got to go at 4 o'clock, or I got to be there at 4 o'clock. So it goes into this guy, which is a good pass. And again, you start peeling up the channel. You can see that center back doesn't want to come near you.
Mm-hmm.
Because center backs don't want to defend in wide areas. You watch, for example, Virgil van Dijk. He tries to stay as center as possible. I was actually rewatching the Champions League final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. And there's a few times where Gareth Bale or Ronaldo is able to break down that byline, and he does not want to go to the outside. He wants Virgil van Dijk, the best defender in the world, wants to stay as central as possible because that's his job. Okay, so you guys clear it, you get it out. Whoops. Again, go back. This is perfect again. Go back. Yes, okay. Just leave it right there. No, go back 5 more. We'll do a pre. Because you guys get the ball. I don't remember how. Okay, so just play it. Yep. Okay, and pause. Okay, so again, look right here. All right, same scenario, same type of thing. You guys are defending a really low freaking block. And you guys get the ball. The center mid gets it. He plays it to the right mid. This guy's going to get in a second. Look at the fullback.
Their position.
I don't necessarily have a problem with what he's doing because they're trying to counter pressure, which I think they win the ball back. So in the end, it's not bad. But this is where you need to recognize again is their fullback's high. You're completely isolated. Right. 1, 2. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, all your players are right here. So I don't know how often this happens to your team in a game. How often you guys have you're defending with 9 in a low block like this. But again, if we can't see it, but on the other side here, it's at least 1 versus 2, which means you're going against 2 players. So even if you get the ball, first off, your back's probably going to beat a goal. Actually, let me take this a step back. What's your biggest strength, NT?
My biggest strength?
Yeah.
That's a hard question. But I don't know. I think like making runs in behind.
Okay, so I would tell you this. I think your biggest strength is 1v1.
And 1v1 too, yeah.
Okay, so the reason I'm giving you this is NT's more effective when he's able to run at somebody. Right, has the ball to dribble at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's why when you played for me, I tried to put you in positions where I could get you to get the ball and be 1v1 or find those pockets of space to attack people. Right? Yeah, you can be effective making runs for sure, but you already don't have good enough stamina, which you've mentioned in this recording already or in this thing. So if you can get a ball where you're not facing your back to goal and you can get a ball and you're on the run already, that's where you're really, really dangerous. That, for me, was, at least, your biggest strength, is you getting the ball and you're running at somebody, like Gareth Bale, like Hazard, like Mbappe, Douglas Costa. So, again, in this scenario, the fullback's out of position. Can you start moving into positions where you can get on the run and attack somebody? Because we're looking at the scenario. You can count. There's 9 players here. So even if they play you this ball, 1, your back's to goal, and you're going to be 1v2 at a minimum, if not 1v3. But if you peel to the outside, you can isolate somebody 1 versus 1. Secondly, you can get a ball where you're now facing the opponent versus receiving and having to try and turn on the guy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you can actually use your biggest strength, in my opinion, which is driving at somebody, beating them or trying to beat them, and crossing, finishing, shooting, whatever. So play it real quick, and then I got to jump off. And I'll save this and should send it to you. The ball comes with this guy. I don't know what he's doing, but you can see you're already between the 2 center backs. Right, your position was. So I think you get a foul, right? I was looking at you instead of the ball, but I think your team gets a foul. But if you made a run in that wide area, you're 1v1, I would put money on you 8 times out of 10 you're beating that guy.
Yeah.
So those are the things you got to try and figure out. And before I jump off, is this what your team does a lot? You guys defend in low blocks and you get isolated a lot?
Not typically. Typically we keep like possession a lot.
Okay. So this is obviously an area you need to improve in because there are going to be games when and maybe your coach thought this was a better team, whatever, I don't know. You're going to have to deal with those scenarios of being in those positions. And that's where like Lukaku is really good. Aguero does a great job. Ronaldo, of course, running into those pockets, getting the ball, beating the guy shooting, and those things that are going to help you. So, go Google, YouTube, Aguero playing as a 9. I'd probably say pre-Pep. You can do Zlatan. He's not a good one. He's not going to make those runs in those pockets. Lewandowski would be a good one. Aguero, Lewandowski, maybe Suarez.
Jesus.
Again, who? Jesus, yeah, could be a good one. Because those guys, again, they're similar to you in the sense of they're not as good as hold-up play. I mean, Aguero is. He's an exception to the rule, but the other one, Suarez, he's not as good as hold-up. He's much better at running at somebody, and it's the same thing for you. So trying to find those pockets of where they move at, I think, will help you understand, especially when your team is in a low block and you're isolated, because you can exploit those things. And then let me see this article before I forget, because I will forget otherwise, and I won't send it to you. I need to do this now because I got to get the fuck out of here. Fuck. Hold on, listen to this. Let me cut this recording out. I'm swearing.